How's it going, everyone? And welcome to I hope Fern has the sound off because I definitely have Near Auto Tomato music playing in my house. No excuses.
Yay!
On YouTube.com with your favorite show hosts, Aristill.
Ari
And Vaul, hoping that I can not develop an immunity to these throat lozenges so that at least I can sort of get through the show.
That's the thing with a lot of those lozenges, they kind of lose potency over time.
And I've been consuming a lot of them. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm starting to put on weight simply from the sheer amount of sugar in all these lozenges. So, the majority of these things are just made out of sugar.
Yeah, the ones that aren't tend to have rather, unfortunate side effects.
And are also incredibly unfortunate flavours.
Oh, generally, yes.
But yes, we're here to bring you another show covering the latest news about the games industry for the week. In between my lungs' attempts to make the great escape to the outdoors where they can be free and pursue their dreams. I have no interest in permitting them to do so. If you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw. You can join us in the Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the show archive on YouTube.
Yes, indeed.
For some reason, Fern decided to come to my house for the show start.
Why not?
Yeah, it is. It's still fish.
It is still fish. It is still lovely down here. I really do like it.
It's still fish and stogies.
Yep, fish and stogies. Yeah, if I was to do a bar, I would probably go full sleaze. And then you'd have to have the noir set to actually log in with it.
What, like filthy dive bar?
Yeah. As in, you get tetanus just from walking through the door.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure to get to my bar, you have to go through like 4 automatic showers, whether you want to or not. There's kind of water all over the place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wear a white outfit like the one I've got on into a place like that.
No.
Because it would come out brown.
It would. It would indeed. But that's fine because, I mean, it'd have a sepia tone filter over it anyway, so it's fine. Anyway, what on earth are we doing?
So, we didn't get that far. We didn't do a whole lot of pre-show planning this week. We're going to be kind of winging it. Most of us have been in little communication with each other this week. It's been a busy or sick week for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll figure something out.
Yeah. So, don't mind my sandwiching. Aside from the horrible disappointment of finding I've been trying to drink expired Pepsi before the show, my week has in large part honestly been work.
Yeah.
But I did sit down and I did watch at least part of the Tokyo Game Festival.
I wanted to watch more than I did, but I was way too tired this week. Most of my week consisted of working all day, getting home, and dying.
Yeah.
I had made plans to, but every time I sat down, I would start to get dizzy from the amount of coughing I was doing, and be like, you know what, I don't have the energy left to do anything.
So yeah,
this is really, really dragging on now at this point. I think this is day 21.
Yeah, it's been like a month, nearly. So,
right. I seem to have developed, sometime in the middle of my second degree, my lungs developed a vulnerability to getting infested with things. And so if a cough settles into my lungs, it will stay there for a few weeks.
Yeah. I wish I had some Liza P and stuff to talk to you about, but I didn't get to play very much. I just am too tired.
Yeah, I think I can snag that on Game Pass, and I want to get at it, but...
So, are you saying you started, Ari?
I started, but
I made a start.
Yeah, I started, but I didn't even make it as far as the demo took you.
Wow, okay. I have to admit they have masterful top hat rendering technology in that game.
Well, it would hardly be the setting they were going for if they couldn't at least get the top hats right.
You've got to get the top hats right.
Yeah, I do have a few things I can note about it, and stuff that's been confirmed by other people. But generally, most of my impressions will be held for later.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll go on with the gaming and stuffs I did for my week while we figure out what on earth we're going to do for the show. Are we just going to go to Bosnia or something?
You want to go to Bajra? We can do Bajra. You can only go to Southern Front, right?
No, I think I can go to the second area now.
We've been in the later parts before with him. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, we can go to the next area up.
So, where is it? The Doman Enclave.
It is. Yes. So, yeah, a lot of my week this week has been just work because, we've been very short-staffed again.
You seem to be short-staffed far more often than you are properly staffed.
We are. The new guy we just put on got some really bad news and had to take off in a big hurry, so that kind of made a mess of things. But, yeah, stuff still happened. So a good chunk of my gaming this week has actually been playing Monster Hunter now while working. Just been chipping away at that. I haven't gone, completely balls deep with it. But worked my way through. I'm consistently fighting the base 3-star monsters now, which starts you off with, I think the first one that's exclusively 3-star is Paolumu. I'll just double check that actually, because I have my phone right here and I can tell you.
Lumu has a real derp face.
It does. The derp face has still not been fixed, again because they've recycled a lot of graphics from World.
Talk about a monster that just doesn't look like it can compete with the other things in the ecosystem.
Yeah. It just derps about above it and doesn't get involved.
Well, it's also floofy. There aren't that many monsters who are just like strictly floofy.
It's the girlfriend monster.
Yeah.
The monster you show your girlfriend when she comes over.
Yeah.
Well, then proceed to murder it. Like that seems like a poor play.
All right, I can go to Delibin Regine, and I can go to Southern Front.
Yeah, I didn't think you could go to Zadnor until you did.
I thought he'd been to Zadnor with us before.
There's a little bit of quests you can do in Zadnor before you go to Delibin Regine. But for some reason, once it's sending you to Delibin, that option for Zadnor is gone until you do Delibin. Maybe if I go.
Yeah, if the 3-man Delibin Regine might be outside our reach.
Yeah.
I do a lot of damage as White Mage, but we're gonna get randos if I push that button, and I'm gonna have to corral cats for a dungeon I don't really remember. Yeah. So,
okay, here we go. So, you start off with the 1-star monsters, which are basically free, which is Fat Jagras, Kulu, Pookie, and Baroth. All of these can spawn at higher star ratings as well, and they become increasingly more difficult and rewarding to fight is in that case as well. 2-star...
Oh, dang. Southern Front is popping.
Yeah, it is. 2-star is only Great Gyros, actually. And then you jump straight to 3-star with Toby and Paolumu. So, as you play through the main quest, you unlock more monsters and higher tier difficulties of monsters. But beyond that, it's very simple. It's just go out, collect stuff, make gear, fight the monsters that spawn around the world map. Repeat.
I'm gonna have to go get some.
Just get this up out of the way.
Since we're in Southern Front, I'm gonna have to turn into a tank.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Because I can't very well do much. We're starting night.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually enjoying that. It's not a completely bare bones game like Pikmin Bloom was. Like Pikmin Bloom, when it first launched, it was here is your Pikmin. Walk around, collect nectar, give to Pikmin. That's it.
I really feel like Niantic should have just picked a lane and stayed in it.
Like, yeah, they're doing really well with Ingress. Pokemon Go was a success even by anyone's estimate. And Monster Hunter now actually kind of follows along that groove. Pikmin Bloom is just why?
It's one of those things that is a real sort of a suffering from success story, like you see with a lot of companies. Like I think that there's reason to be afraid. For instance, that Baldur's Gate 3 is the last truly great game we'll see from that developer because they won't be AA anymore.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And something seems to happen when a company reaches a certain amount of success.
Half the time it's they open up to the wider market.
Well, it's not really that. It's that they sort of are forced to because they will get the interest of much larger investors once they hit a certain size,
Mm-hmm.
and those investors will have certain demands, but they won't be able to turn down all that beautiful dosh.
Yeah. They can only hold out for so long. Oh, I need to
Like Pinocchio, they will feel their nose just growing on their face.
Oh, I mean, they're
Was
not.
that too much?
Yeah, they're not Todd Howard yet.
Hey, you said it, not me.
But, yeah. As long as they can hold out from, I guess, getting greedy or trying to set their sights too high, then it'll be okay.
They won't.
But it won't.
They won't.
Sooner or later, it'll happen. We've only really seen one major game company do it so far, and that's because they made their own complete ecosystem. That being Valve. They don't need to go to the big investors because they are the market. Anyway. So yeah, Pokemon Now. Not Pokemon Now. Monster Hunter Now is fun. And it's just something if you're standing around for 5 minutes, you pull out your phone and bully Kulu.
Or Kulu.
He brought it on itself. Stupid Kulu.
Say what you like about Kulu, though. Like, among monsters, he has character.
He does. He does.
I think probably some of the most entertained that I have ever been while playing Monster Hunter was the event Kulu fight in the 14 crossover.
That was so good.
Because it's just completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is this Kulu that you have to fight, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you fight it.
And if you're not careful, that Kulu will stomp you. It's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
quite...
he's still dumb as a brick, but he's just enormous and hits like a truck.
Yeah, it's not fattest Jagras levels of overpowered, but yeah, it's still Kulu. It's just Kulu with a really big magical rock. So yeah, after you get past the 1-star monsters and start pushing into 2-star and then 3-star, they do start actually hitting hard. 3-star monsters, at least with the gear level I'm at, will 2-shot me. And when you have something like Great Gyarados going into its angry charge about phase, and you time your attack wrong and get animation locked, which still happens, then yeah, you're gonna get smushed. Oh right, I forgot Phoenix unlocked now. At least I should have Phoenix unlocked. There. Not sure how many monsters they've got in there yet. I don't think they've got any Elder Dragons. But they do have an event going on which is just an increased spawn rate for Diablos. That's all that really is. But because I haven't made my way up to Diablos and can't fight it yet, it's completely and utterly pointless. At least as far as I'm concerned. That's where my interests are anyway.
Let's go die to calculator.
Calculator! Okay.
I've already registered us.
But yeah. What else did I do? There's been a lot of talk about Dragon's Dogma over the last week or so because it's kind of one of the big headliners that Capcom bought to.
That's ironic because nobody talked about Dragon's Dogma when the first one came out, and that's why it
they didn't.
Sort of didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I bought it years ago and played an hour of it. That was it. So I dusted it off and had another look at it. And, yeah, graphically it hasn't aged well. It's got that slightly grainy effect that games with older resolutions tend to have. And the fact that you can't make a really actually decent looking character means I ended up just leaning onto that and made a character called Geriatric who looks like he's like 300 years old. So, it's fun. Haven't gotten too far into it, but the plot is basically dragons stole your heart because you were an idiot and decided to attack this immortal thing that is eating your villagers instead of running away.
To
How
the
romantic.
calculator.
Commence. Yes. And that's as far as the
No.
plot as I've gone. Is you need to get your heart
Your
back.
heart was stolen by a dragon.
Yeah.
Now we calculator and we die.
I completely forgot how this guy works.
It reduces your health to a digit, and you have to add another number to that digit by standing in a circle to fulfill the condition stated by the robot. But what will actually kill you is a spinny thing,
Oh yes.
because the latency will ensure that you die.
Yes. So he has the hardest mechanic of all. Math.
Well, latency, I would argue, is the hardest.
Oh yeah, latency is just a normal. That's why I'm not going to be. I don't think I'll ever be able to do the duels in here. Latency is just not forgiving enough.
Yeah, you
Lion
need to,
2 will be almost impossible with your latency.
Yeah.
yeah, like you need to have roughly double the reaction speed of somebody who lives in the same country as the servers.
Yes.
Lion 2 specifically has 2 moves that are not going to be very forgiving with latency. That'll just kick your butt.
Was it 2 telegraphs really quick back to back?
Worse. You have
Like, if you to do
Even with Fern.
Lion on latency, you would have to map the dance out on the ground and just do the dance regardless of what was happening on the screen. You couldn't use visual cues; you would just need to learn it.
All right, onwards.
Yeah. boot camp mode.
Can't
Don't
see
be on
anything.
his-
I forgot to turn off effects for the group, so
Likewise. Oh no, this is gonna end poorly. No.
I see Fern getting cooked.
Yeah, I was ahead of the beams on my screen, so that's what the latency does to you. That was just really impolite. Behold!
no casualties today. Calibrate. What was a 4? Oh, that's not good.
Gonna lay.
And you have a Fort Smart, so be careful with that.
Oh,
Oh,
no, I
yeah.
couldn't pick my target in time. I'm toast.
Oh no, I got walked too far.
Mathed! Oh,
I
yeah.
was, I was as far away as could possibly be from where I needed to be.
Oh, no. Yeah, this isn't like the other boss that does the maths. You get
Multiples of
force
3. Force match. How long is this force match? I don't even freaking know.
I think,
Across the arena.
yeah, I think
Oh
if
no,
you're,
that's too far.
if you're in his targeting arena and points where you are, or point at the number, you'll end up there.
Yeah, that's what killed me. I was too far out. I forgot how far the Force March went.
Oh. Well, that was just unfortunate. I should have waited till he exploded before I stood up.
Indeed, perhaps so. Phew.
We got bronzed. Oh, I got bronze. Which, since I was spent most of that laying on the ground, I'm going to accept. Oh no,
We're going to
Castrum.
join the Castrum.
You want to do Castrum?
Pickle.
What could possibly go wrong?
Pickle?
Hello, are we having issues here?
Maybe.
Yes, we're having lag shoes on my end.
Okay.
I
Can
kind
we
of don't
switch
want to
to
do
US?
like this.
We could switch to US West for the Discord server.
Things are just being weird today.
Yeah, hang on, let me do something.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, it was the whole internet had a hernia on my end. They haven't. We got switched to a new internet line for a fiber line, and they haven't buried it yet.
That seems unwise.
Yeah, I don't think we should do Castrum and try to do a show at the same time.
No, that would end poorly.
Is there somewhere where we can farm bloodsuckers? I have like 2.
Castrum. That's it.
Oh man, really?
I can push the button if you want.
Auction house it is, I guess.
Yeah, that is the correct answer.
That is, yeah. I don't think we could manage Castrum unless we're actually paying attention.
Well, if we happened to get a miraculous group that were all onto it, which has happened exactly once to me, then it would be fine. But
I'm not. I hate Castrum. I hate it. I hate it.
Such a...
You can't make me.
As bad as it... It's hard to call something outright bad in this game, but Castrum's bad.
I like Castrum. The design is bad, sure, but I've had good experiences there in the past.
Yeah.
I just hate I like the design. I hate the people.
Oh my god, oh yeah.
I don't like the prison sequence. I think the prison sequence turns the whole instance toxic more often than it helps.
Yeah.
Where are you guys? I can't work out which one I'm supposed to go to.
Yeah, trying to figure out which one I'm supposed to go to. Lunya's stand, I think.
Yeah, I just came to here because I just picked a spot to run away from Castrum.
Oh, okay. Turn my class back on. Alright, as far as other stuff I've done this week, not much. That's basically been it. It's been a very uninteresting week.
Hello, yes.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't even watch any anime this week, actually, because nothing really caught my attention.
Well, it's end of season now, so
Yeah. So we'll have the
a lot of the
next
series
season starting
winding
up
up at the
soon.
moment. But in most cases, it's sort of like, oh, well, the next season will be starting up soon. But there seemed to be a profusion of series this season, which I felt they did a 12 episode or whatever, and they managed to tell like the prologue to the actual story, and that's all. And I just know that they're not going to get a second season because most of them were mediocre at best.
Yeah. Seems to be a good amount of that going on lately. You can do without it. This guy's health going up.
Yeah, he just healed because I don't have an interrupt on my farming bar.
Oh, see.
What am I supposed to interrupt?
Marching breath or something.
What uses it?
The boss. Del Benu de Blessed.
Doobie-doo blessed, yes.
I really don't know how you come by your pronunciations of things, because you just like find extra letters other people can't see.
Yeah, it's Dyunbu. Actually, the D's probably silent, so Yunbu? I don't know.
I like my pronunciation better.
Doobie-doo. So yeah, I'm going to leave my week at that, because it's been a blah week.
Yeah, we can register for Kill It With Fire.
Oh wait, is Kill It With Fire the Mio Chocobo one?
No, that's the onion.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Hunt for Red Choctober is the one you're thinking of.
That's it. Okay, yep.
I'll queue us. Don't worry, I'll queue us for that one.
How can you forget a name like that?
I should remember the puns.
Everything in here is a pun, and half of them are Metal Gear puns.
Oh, there are Metal Gear puns, yes. Where are we going? Nowhere. We're going there.
Yeah, we're going to Kill It With Fire.
way. Kill it with fire. Vaul, how dead are you this week?
Pretty dead. I'm just enduring the ongoing symptoms of my illness, and I don't think that it's going to let up anytime soon. Every time this happens to me, this is about the third time I've gone through a very long sort of post-illness period of just hacking up a lung. I can't sort of clearly remember how it ended. It's sort of like trying to remember a dream. Like I don't remember. How long did it take? How did it feel when it was coming to a close? Did it end overnight, or is it going to take a long time and tail off? I just have no memories of what happened last time, so I don't know what to expect. I'm just hoping that it goes away before I end up with an immunity to these throat lozenges.
Yes.
I think that they're probably pretty bad for me as it is, since they're basically big clumps of sugar with a whole bunch of oils in them.
Yep.
But I've given up on the medicinal ones because I don't know what they put in those. That they feel the need to have maximum daily dosages. Because frankly, in order to function, I need to be sucking on one of these things all the time. So yeah, it's been pretty miserable for me over the past week, and I haven't really done very much as a result. Let me think. The summer event in FGO came to an end, and it was very silly, and basically, in the end, I felt like it was mainly aimed at Karma simps. Like, I know she's got a lot of fans, especially since she's a Sakura face, but yeah, it's one of those things that makes me just cringe a little bit to be a fan, to be honest, because people are just a little bit too attached to her. But yeah. Overall, I would classify it as an okay summer event. It just wasn't quite as interesting as a lot of the previous ones. Like I mean, they're usually interesting by merit of being extraordinarily silly, and that's true. But this one was just sort of like kind of unimaginative. It was mainly fan service, and I mean that in the sense of it was just sort of like slice of life goofing off for the characters. If you're a big fan of Karma, or a big fan of Brobeard, or a big fan of say Shonagon, then it would have had a lot for you. But if not, then it's sort of like a bit because it was pretty much their event, manner of speaking. I suppose also, I'd say actually, amongst summer events, this one was the most focused on a handful of particular characters and their reactions to the summer shenanigans, rather than the other ones, which basically try to draw in as many characters as possible. So, yeah, it was okay, but now we're back on the beat week. The next event, I believe, is the Elizabeth trilogy rerun, where they're basically going to do a rapid fire rerun of all the Lizzie events.
That's a lot of them, because isn't that almost
the Castle Chat one, and then the Pyramid one, and then the Himeji Castle one, forming the world's most ridiculous tower.
They got to add another floor to that thing sooner or later.
I don't know if they do or not, because this trilogy is the rerun, which, number one, it's an opportunity for people who missed the welfare servants to pick up the Ellie-chans that they're missing. But also it's sort of like reintroducing the fact that they decided, you know what, let's just bring back the Elizabeth gets Halloween every year sort of trend. I don't know if there's like some big difference between how people perceive Elizabeth in Japan versus the West, because she is roundly hated as an obnoxious and annoying character in the West by most Western FGO fans. I think she is incredibly entertaining. she's one of my favourite characters. But nobody else in the West seems to think so. However, they continually do more Liz-centric stuff in FGO, so she must be popular in Japan.
Someone
I can
must
only
enjoy
assume.
it then, yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case, because often the devs will just do stuff that they like.
True.
But yeah, it is what it is. I'm looking forward to the next Ellie event. It's I think Ryder Elizabeth is the one from that event, and it's Cinderella themed, I believe.
Oh dear.
Because Elizabeth is Cinderella in this case. Or at least she certainly perceives herself to be so. She has a surprising amount of self-esteem. But,
Self-esteem
yeah,
or self-delusion?
well, I mean, when you get to hear her singing her best, she actually sings really well. It's just that under normal circumstances, she's only thinking about getting attention from people, and when she's thinking like that, her singing is atrocious.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, she's according to the official lore, she's a sonic breath dragon. So when she's just thinking about getting attention, her singing is actually a breath attack, which is why she's considered to be so insufferable when she's singing.
Yep.
Her primary rival, Nero, on the other hand, has no such excuse.
Couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, that one.
Evidently could not carry a tune in an entire arena.
No.
But, are you going somewhere in particular, Fern? Oh, there's an engagement over here.
Yeah, we're going.
Well, you started moving and I started following you, assuming you knew what you were doing, which I'm not, in hindsight, might not be the safest move.
No, don't ever assume I know what I'm doing. I generally don't.
No, Ari was tabbed out pulling up stuff for his week.
But yeah, so yeah, FGO is in a rest week, and while a lot of fans are very upset about the decline in pace of content that happened at this point in FGO history, frankly, I'm just relieved because I don't have so much time on my hands. So yeah, it's in a slow right now, but that's fine. Blue Archive is also in a beat at the moment because the big story event that we talked about last week has just come to a conclusion. So we're in sort of a rest week, but we'll be kicking off again early next week with I think they're doing New Year's rerun, and then presumably there'll be another event to follow that, since rerun events tend to be short. But yeah, don't have enough pyroxenes to just roll willy-nilly on that one. New Year's Kyoko is supposedly really important for blue teams, so I'll probably attempt to pick her up. Whether or not I pick up any of the other characters, I haven't decided about that yet. I don't think many of them, other than Kyoko, have much meta importance, so it's just a question of, well, how much waifu do I want? But yeah. Oh man, I got one hit in. Disappointment. Does this one continue to anything?
Yeah, I think it has a follow-up. Hang on, we got a gunship chewing on us.
Goblins for
Ben has
days.
a goblin chewing on him. But yeah, anime-wise, I haven't watched very much because it's actually really hard to focus on anime when you keep having fits of coughing. But the whatchamacallit, the vending machine one came to a close in a bland and uninteresting way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We're running away from it? Why are we running away?
Why are we running away?
So
Right here.
in the off chance we can not scale it.
Oh. Well, you didn't make it very far because it had spawned in while you were still within targeting range.
Yeah, I'm made the token attempt.
You showed willing.
An attempt was made.
But, yeah, the big one that came to a close, although not quite. It was Bungo Stray Dogs, which, for all intents and purposes, has finished its main story arc. Although there's like the big Dragon Ball Z fight still to go.
Could very well be a movie.
I don't know. They've already had a movie, I think.
Yeah, they've had
Not
one.
sure. But yeah, I haven't actually watched the movie. But yeah, the series, it's sort of. I think that the ending I would have liked more if they had a little bit less constipated philosophizing on human nature. Because frankly, it's just dime store garbage, which is, you know, I don't actually expect to get my philosophy from anime, and I don't think anybody should. Like, I don't really understand what it is about showrunners that always think that they have something important to say, because let's be real, people writing TV shows almost never have anything important to say.
Nah.
They will swear up and down that they are luminaries, though. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of burbling about whether or not humans are capable of being peaceful and so on and so forth, and it's all very convoluted, but in this sort of like enjoyably over the top way. And the series is sort of like, it's gone on long enough to earn what it has, in a sense. Like, it's been a consistently entertaining show for like 4 or 5 seasons now, so I'm perfectly happy to give it its time.
Yeah.
And there's an awful lot of, how do I put this? Not properly confirming the existence of the body of the guy you just killed. Which is possibly the worst trope ever. Especially if it's entirely within your abilities to make absolutely sure. And then, you know, this guy is the biggest threat to anything. It's incredibly dangerous that he should continue to exist, and it's very, very important that you remove him from the position of being a threat.
In that
and you
circumstance,
don't check the body.
Yeah,
you don't ever check the body.
You'd want to be absolutely sure he was no longer an issue in that case. Ack.
Why am I taking the boss?
Why are you taking the boss?
Oh, I had tank stance on.
Oh, that'd be why.
But yeah. What else finished that I saw? The one about the Demon Lord and the hero. The other one about the Demon Lord and the hero.
Oh.
Not the
Not Hulk.
Not the. No, not Hulk. The other one.
The other one.
So not Devil is a part-timer, not Hulk, and it's the other one that's doing that this season. That one also came to an end. And it was sort of like a predictable but relatively satisfying end, because this one is the story about, like, the hero's party's quest to defeat the Demon Lord is long over, and it was like glorious victory. They won. Society has moved on. And like the priest in the party has sort of like become the Secretary General of the Department of Magic, and the mage has moved on to become a housewife and mother, and the knight has moved on to become like a sort of like a Tarzan figure, living out in a less civilized part of the continent, and the hero has become a bum, basically. He just sort of like he loafs around and day drinks.
Right.
Because he doesn't really have a place in society, because his only talent was heroing, and nobody needs a hero anymore. And the story is that the Demon Lords finally managed to reincarnate, but did so a bit early, so it was only level 1. So it wants to pass the time by finding out where the hero is and how his grand comeback fight is going to shake down. And he finds out that, oh well, actually the hero is a mess right now. And are we going in there?
Yep, we're going in here.
Oh, this guy.
I'm not going to do the duel, but yeah.
And so he takes on the job of attempting to rehabilitate the hero with mixed results, very mixed results. But yeah, that story sort of came to an end, and it was a relatively watchable, short, self-contained series that doesn't really need very much around it. It didn't leave any massive dangling plot threads. It's just like a straight up 12 episodes. Here's a sort of like a little light comedy about the what happens to the hero's party afterwards type of thing. And it came to an end, and it was adequate.
Yeah.
And that's about all I can really say, because I won't remember anything about the show in a couple of seasons' time.
Probably. I haven't even looked at the next season. Let's see. Is there actually anything coming up that's of note? What are we looking for? Full anime season. There's more Spy X Family, and there's more Dr. Stone. That's probably everything that people are going to want to know.
I never watched Dr. Stone. Like, your description of it made it sound incredibly cringe, so I never bothered.
It is. Like, yeah, okay, their science is correct-ish, but they tend to skip a lot of steps.
Oh, it isn't. It's super duper cringe.
Oh yeah, it's still cringe. Absolutely cringe.
In context, like, if they're going to try and have accurate science, I 100% prefer to watch unironic edutainment over a conventional anime that is trying to have science in it.
Yeah.
Because only one of these things is going to come by it honest. The other one is going to try and, convey a particular mood. And I don't particularly want to be told what to think about epistemology.
I disagree with pretty much the entire message that Dr. Stone tries to get across, without exception.
See, that's what I was afraid of, right? That's why I didn't watch it, because I suspected it would have a message.
Yeah.
Which is why I say I prefer the unironic edutainment, because unironic edutainment is not going to have a message, because the only thing it's interested in is conveying facts to children about science. Like, oh, and this is how electricity works, type of thing. In the simplest conceivable way. Generally inoffensive. Like that one some years ago about a girl who sort of travels through time, meeting great inventors and that sort of thing, and having sort of anime-esque adventures with them. Like that was incredibly digestible. Not very accurate in a lot of ways, but it was sincere. It wasn't trying to make me think something strange. Grief.
Whoosh. Oh!
Are we done, robot?
The scholar just pressed their button.
I impetused into the wall.
Oh.
So I couldn't, I didn't go the right way.
Oh, I blew up. Apparently.
What did you blow up of?
I don't know. I can't tell because the battle logs just moved too quick.
Anyway, I watched the latest version of the isekai as the villainess of a visual novel character story thing. I can't remember what this one's called.
37 of that plot.
Yeah, but this one was sort of like roundly inferior to the ones that I've enjoyed in the past, because the main character is way too much of a self-sacrificing Mary Sue. Like, she just doesn't seem like a real human being.
Oh, we can go watch the duel.
I understand the idea that, oh well, she's kind of been placed in an odd situation, and as a result is behaving in a slightly atypical way. Sure, I can appreciate that. The problem is that she does not behave in a human way. She behaves in like an anime saint way. Like this person is she's not like Mary Sue is sort of underselling it. It's more Purity Sue. Like she's just too morally perfect.
Yeah.
And suffers from an extreme case of scrupulosity. Actually, that word's sort of fallen out of common parlance outside the Catholic Church. Scrupulosity is the sin of believing that you can't be forgiven. So, because we in the Catholic Church we believe that you can confess your sins and repent and then be absolved and then you're forgiven, right? The scrupulosity is the belief that you won't be forgiven even if you do that. Which is, it's a sort of like, oh well, you're conveying an indictment of God's grace. So basically, this character has basically taken on herself personally all of the guilt of the villainous of the story that she's been isekai'd into, and constantly behaves as though she's guilty of all these things, even though none of these things actually happen. And we're expected to admire her as being self-sacrificing in this way, except that it just seems like she's needlessly torturing everybody and has a martyr complex instead. So yeah, it's just a bad version of other ones that I've seen doing it better. Like I've mentioned many times in the past, my preferred one is My Next Life as a Villainess, simply because the main character is a total Dummkopf.
Yes.
Like she's got all of the Mary Sue attributes, except she's really, really dumb.
Yeah, she's
like
thick as a
really
plank.
dumb.
It's great.
That's her in-universe character trait. It's not that the writer was dumb, because there's always that universal problem with writing, right? That the smartest character in any given story can only be as smart as the dumbest writer.
Yes.
No, it's not like that. She is actually written to be incredibly ignorant.
Yes.
But
So I'm just flicking through the list. There's an Arknights anime, if you're interested in that, coming up.
Arknights is an incredibly depressing setting.
It is, isn't it?
Why is it putting these so far out?
Everybody in Arknights has cancer.
Yeah.
Like super cancer from space. I watched the first season of the Arknights anime, and it was reasonably well produced, and basically a downer the entire time.
Yeah. So there's a couple of interesting
Nobody
ones.
is saved. Everybody is guilty. Nothing
Everybody's
happy
guilty.
ever happens.
Yeah.
Well, he got gutted. He moved too soon.
He got gutted. I'm not seeing. Well, there's still a few isekai around this next season, but not as many. At least not as many overt ones. Like there is one about a guy who's playing a VR game, but it's not an isekai. He's just there because the game is shit and he wants to min-max the hell out of it.
Oh, he's done cocked this up. This is going to be funny.
There's a fun one about a bad luck magnet who accidentally got her parents killed, but teams up with a zombie who is basically just gets up every time he dies. Not sure exactly what that one is. That's Undead Unluck. That one actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Okay, does he know how to do the mechanic right?
Nope.
Show him your hole.
Yes. Showing the hole.
Okay, he missed.
He missed.
He missed the tower. He missed the tower.
Yeah. But by the same note, there are still isekais like Shield Hero Season 3. I didn't watch even Season 2. I think Season 1 ended in a good place, and that was enough.
I watched season 2, but it was kind of
Bad.
Yeah, nothing seemed relevant, and it had that turtle.
And it had the turtle, yes.
I really like season 1 of Shieldy Boy, but holy crap, that turtle.
Yeah. I read it. I didn't watch the anime, but I did read ahead of the manga at the time, and it was like, okay, well, your main plot's flapped up, and everyone's just kind of flapping loose, and they just keep on flapping.
Oh no! That's not why we're complaining about the turtle.
Okay.
Yeah, the turtle looks like a CG cutscene from a low budget PS1 era RPG.
Oh
yeah.
No!
It is some of the worst CG you've ever seen.
Like the turtle's plot point was just dumb. It's like it's okay, it's there, but yeah, fine. But to make it look awful on top of that, it's just why?
Like it would be one thing if it was just a kind of weak-ish plot. That is not the problem here. The problem here is the turtle looks like poop.
Yeah. But considering
I
how
guess
good season 1 looked at times, why? That's it. Yeah, because season 1 did have a few. They had some shoes, but visually anyway.
I suppose my problem with it was that I found that I just liked the B team much better than the A team.
Yeah.
Like, I liked all of those characters. I like Glass, and I like the boneheaded prince guy, and I like the girl who can only hurt animals, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that they're all fun characters, whereas the main cast does nothing but either be grumpy in the case of the main character, or simp for the main character.
Right.
They got they get a whole lot more into the side characters in the coming seasons, but the shoe is they had season 2 and that turtle.
Yeah. Oh,
And
no.
now what?
Speaking of bad ideas, I just spotted Uma Musume season 3. Why does that exist?
I don't know why they keep making those.
Please stop.
Viewed independently and through the bottom of a bottle of alcohol, it's actually a reasonably entertaining story. I just don't know why it exists, because it's really weird. I need another one of these lozenges. I'm having difficulty here.
So when we get to my week, I have one anime to talk about.
All right, I think
And
we
it's
can. If Vaul's finished dying, that might be it. But
Well, he's still got. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to new Goblin Slayer, at least, because I like Goblin Slayer.
I still haven't watched Goblin Slayer. I should do that. It was one of those
I have a
anime that
fe-
kind of got overhyped at the time.
It did, but it was only overhyped because of people objecting to it.
It got rage baited, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sexual violence in the original material, and it's even more graphic in the manga. The anime, on the other hand, sort of like elides it. Like, it's still there, except it's just all sort of implied instead of being, you know, graphically illustrated.
Yeah. Is no one taking the Beastmaster? He's just kind of
You do.
chasing people
Is
around.
that a problem?
I got
No, I
got
can
by
turn.
him. He was just chewing on a machinist.
Well, machinists are tasty. What can I say?
I mean, I can turn Grit back on, but I mean, whenever I don't exactly have a healer to keep me up. I guess I don't need one. That's what Lost Rampage is for. Although I've only
I
got
guess
18
I
shots
can-
left.
I guess I could switch to a healer if you want a pocket healer, but
I don't really need one. It's if I wind up in a scenario where I got a tank, situations like this can happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to Living Dead.
yeah, I have the first season of Goblin Slayer on Blu-ray. I've watched the movie. I don't have the movie on Blu-ray though, but the movie is just a lengthy episode of Goblin Slayer, basically. But since I'm like essentially a human supremacist when it comes to fantasy worlds, I approve of Goblin Slayer and I approve of the murder of small creatures, because they are inferior to humanity and therefore wiping them out seems perfectly alright since they're broadly hostile. This is a type of genocide I can be on board with. The problem with that series is that it absolutely doesn't care that it's 100% just D&D.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will not like it because of that. Like, everybody is a Vancian mage, for instance. And, you know, that's really not going to suit most people because it's very gamey.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if I've read any fantasy books where they do Vancian magic in sort of like a convincing non-gamey way. Have you, RSU?
Not off the top of my head.
I mean, because it's a gaming construct, right? Like, you wouldn't
Yeah.
expect it to be, but I mean, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of things like that. Like this, all the RPG tropes are played up really hard, and I can sort of understand very easily the fatigue that people have for that type of thing because it's so overdone now.
Yeah.
But the sort of the general visceral attitude of the show is sufficiently entertaining
I'm just gonna
that
stay
I'm
down.
not that bothered by it. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing where it'll go with the next season, and sort of vaguely apprehensive that it'll just get worse because that seems to happen a lot of the time. Things
Oh,
go
that's
on
tough.
like that, and bleh.
I died and still got aggro. Yeah, Vault, can you turn to a healer?
What I need to go and get a whatchamacallit for it though.
Oh, if you gotta do all that, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No,
I
no.
need
Too much effort.
don't-
Just
I
stay as
don't-
you are.
I don't even know what consumable that you should pop if you're going healer.
Don't worry about it then. Just stay as you are. If we got it,
What consumable should you pop if you go healer?
because I don't actually know because I play green DPS.
I actually need
You
to
people in your
socket thing.
exploiting. Why you exploit so hard?
I don't know. The game just seems to hate me today.
I don't know. You were if you knew about that boss's mechanics, you could have avoided them. But I just was sitting there. Oh, it's Debog. I forget that he is a normal person before he turns into a monster.
Let's see.
I'm trying to skim down the list of anime to see if anything catches my eye, but it's really not. Really doesn't look like a great. There's another Beyblade season, really?
Yeah, another Beyblade. There seems to be infinite Beyblade.
You know, Beyblade is actually a thing in some places.
Yeah, some people play it.
Like I've seen like videos on the internet of like serious business grown adults playing Beyblade and betting on the outcomes.
Eesh.
That is actually a thing. They'll like get a big wok, right?
Yep.
Like a big steel wok, and then they'll do the Beyblade and they'll place bets on which one's going to stop spinning first.
Imagine the noise. Yeah, it's one of those things that's like people get really into it, but if you're not into it, it just seems kind of dumb. What should we use?
And I'm not talking about like fat otakus either. I'm talking like normal looking people. Like they'll be playing it in like a dingy alley somewhere in a city.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to ask you this question without getting us kicked off YouTube.
Oh no.
Yes, they're black.
Okay,
Why?
Well, I don't know what to tell you. That's the case.
I guess, but right, okay.
it's a thing when it comes to that
Yeah, I
type
mean,
of entertainment.
I don't know what it is, but like, I mean, what you need to do is look at the ethnic composition of the group of people in your high school who liked Dragon Ball Z the most, and you will see certain patterns.
Well, you'll see a pattern that has a whole lot of melanin.
Yeah, like in New Zealand, it was like all the Maori kids were like super into Dragon Ball Z. Which is not to say there weren't heaps of New Zealanders of European extraction who were into it as well. There were. It was just like disproportionately the Maori kids.
Yeah, it was that way here too.
I'm not passing any kind of moral judgment on it. I like Dragon Ball Z. It's just like it's an interesting sort of demographic pattern that I don't really understand the explanation of. I presume it wasn't Maori kids in your case.
No, it was Aboriginal kids, but yeah, largely the same.
I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z Abridged this week, actually.
I'm actually a really big fan of that that meme that's been going around of the new live action Little Mermaid, and it's got the cartoon of the girl who's like, oh, I can finally, it's a coloured girl or whatever, who's like, oh, I can finally identify with this, and then it cuts to like Goku powering up, and it's got, you know, dudes of all different colours and races like, I can identify with this.
Yeah, that's the big thing with Hollywood's identification. It's always been paper thin. It's just, yeah, you're doing.
I think that
stop it.
I think that it's not really, not necessarily so much that there's a special profusion of ethnic minorities that enjoy Dragon Ball Z so much as like Dragon Ball Z is a universal language to men.
Yeah.
So you're more likely to be able to cross barriers that way.
Need more of those.
Unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. Yu-Gi-Oh! And Beyblade apparently are on the list as well. of things that cross cultural barriers.
Yeah, you see, there's no accounting for taste, I guess.
I
But,
guess, but it kind of all just falls under the big umbrella of weeb shit. Everyone can agree on weeb shit. Depending on whether you like it or not, that's a different matter. But you agree.
Here's the thing with Yu-Gi-Oh though. If you see fat white boys, those are the people you don't want to interact with.
Neckbeards.
Because they're always the well-asked clearly spends their free time as a Reddit mod types.
Yeah, neckbeards.
Like, they're always overweight. They may not have a neck beard because they may not be able to grow one because of the lack of testosterone in their system, but
Where are you going?
I go to great effort to avoid being a neck beard, shaving my neck up to twice a day.
I get it in the mornings, and that's about it.
Like I do have a neurosis about facial hair, but for some reason, like I just cannot stand the neck beard thing. Like I aggressively remove neck beard hairs.
I don't get the people who will shave their face but they don't shave their neck, and then they end up with just the neck beard. I don't get those people. You look awful. Stop it.
Yeah. So yeah, we were at Vaul's week before we got distracted by stuff that'll get us kicked off YouTube.
Probably.
Yeah, anime is a thing. I'm not quite sure where Jujutsu Kaisen is going or at what pace it's going there, because I don't feel like they've made very much progress so far this season, and the season is nearly over. I'm really confused. Like there doesn't really seem to be a climax in range of where we are now. I guess they could turn things around really quickly.
Maybe.
But
we're doing Sart. Okay, we can do Sart.
Oh, this is.
I mean, if it climaxed to now, I think it would be kind of disappointing. Like it would not be a very mature storytelling moment. I don't feel so. It seems to me like there must be some more to come, but yeah, I don't know the story very well. There's been a huge amount of outrage online about the way the original material has gone, because apparently the author killed somebody off or something and is now getting death threats from the fans.
That is annoyingly common.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talk about it. There's been a lot of discussion recently about the animators working on the Bleach animation getting heaps of death threats. That's been happening a lot lately.
Why though?
Because they just don't like some aspect of it they've decided they don't like.
Yeah. Don't send death threats, people. Just don't.
Yeah, like at best you look cringe. At worst you get arrested.
Yes. And
like there is literally nobody will be convinced and nobody will be impressed. Like the only service that you're providing by doing that is highlighting to everybody how irrelevant you are.
Yeah.
Which is a service, I will grant you that. But not one that anybody wants.
Even if you are objectively right about what you're trying to say, the moment you send a death threat, you completely undermine your own position. Just don't.
Yeah.
I think people should be more afraid of being cringe than they are.
They really should. But again,
Cringe is bad, okay?
Yeah. Anyway, what's next?
Did I do anything else this week? Not really. I tried to tool around a couple times on Final Fantasy 14. Went to some effort before the show to try and tune. I got a DualSense this week because they were on special. And I've spent some time this morning attempting to set it up for Final Fantasy 14, but I'm not using it right now because it's going to take a lot of time to get used to. I can tell that already. And I just don't know what Yoshi P was thinking with some of those design decisions. My goodness.
You have to activate the bar to place it on the bar, and you can't place it on the second bar that's displayed. It has to be the active bar.
Wouldn't having a configuration mode be helpful? But it's just a screen, and because here's all your actions on one side, and there's all your buttons.
Or just the ability to drag and drop onto the expanded cross hotbar without having to switch your primary bar.
Yeah.
Because the buttons are there, and you can mouse over them, and if you attempt to drag and drop something onto them, the borders will light up as though it will take. and then it just doesn't.
Ugh.
Like, everything about it is designed for maximum frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that 90% of the time when I place a button on those bars, I accidentally drop it on the wrong one. But yeah, it's silly and frustrating and silly. But yeah, I'm interested in tooling around with it and seeing how it feels to play, because it's a more relaxed form of play in certain ways. You can sit back and play rather than sit forward and play,
Yeah.
which is something. But I'm not good at the claw grip because it's been years since I've needed to use it for anything.
Yeah, it's you're gonna have to bust that index finger out. I do it automatically. I've done it automatically for a while now.
The extent to which I use it is pretty much proportional to the frequency with which I play fighting games, and I haven't played fighting games in years. So, yeah.
Yeah, I
out of practice.
when you're playing a whole lot of Dante in Devil May Cry 5, you need to be able to style switch quick, so your finger learns how to claw grip real good like.
Royal Guard.
Yeah, you can't do no Royal Guard release cancels without the claw grip.
Yeah. Other things. Ari took me to Del Riada after the show. I think it was.
It was. I think it was
week?
the day after the show. Yeah,
it could be the day after. I don't make very clear distinctions in time for the 2 days of my weekend because I spend so much of the time asleep. But
oh, how does this one work? I always forget this one.
I don't know. I can't find my mouse pointer, so I can't click commence. Here we go.
No, hang on, I'm at... Okay, finish one. Boop.
Oh, I don't remember this at all. At all.
I don't remember this one. Like, you have to intentionally get blinded or something?
Really?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna die. I'm turning my tank stance off. Somebody else can tank it.
But yeah, Del Riada was sort of a bit unimpressive in some ways because it seemed mostly like a rehash of previous content, right up till near the end. And I mean, like, as a set piece, I think it was quite good, but I feel like it was also quite a bit of recycled content. But I think that it's in context. I think it was fine, and it would have been fine at the time. I can see why Abo feels it's so grindable. Because it is it does have that sort of feel to it. It's quite comfortably grindable and doesn't have the obnoxious prison sequence in it. But yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I don't remember much of the story. Like, I was sort of seeing the conclusion to the story, having forgotten virtually everything that led up to it, so it didn't have much impact for me. But yeah, it was okay. I'm glad that it's done now so that I can move on to participating on a whim in Zadnor, where I had previously sort of gotten stuck because I was unable to accrue metal.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just getting 0 metal out of every engagement because I had hit the cap that you can be at while still participating in the story, and you only get uncapped when the story is done. So I've done that now. So once we manage to usher Fern through to Delubrum Regino, then we'll be able to spend some more time goofing off in Zadnor. But which is a good way to organically accrue things towards your relic weapon as well once you've got to that stage.
Yeah.
Assuming you got the quest for all the steps.
Oh, what do we do?
I don't know.
Oh, this could be bad?
Is this going to be one of those times where everybody ends up dead?
Yeah, probably.
Moo!
Right, I think you want to get hit by this one.
Okay, so we face it.
Petrified.
Well, I got petrified.
Okay, I got hit by the outer eye and then faced him, and I was fine.
Oh, and I did.
I didn't die, but I'm not sure what I did. I'm a little bit confused.
I don't know what just happened.
Oh my. There's going to be 3 of them. Do we want to look at it this time or not? Uh-oh. I'm immune to Demon Eye, apparently. Which is probably a bad thing at this point. Hopefully it dies before it becomes a problem. Hello?
Maybe?
Hello, hello?
Hello.
What's going on?
My internet is shit in the bed.
Oh, great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some work, even though I just fixed all this crap with the old internet.
Yeah, it's the joys of a new connection.
You're an IT guy. It should be easy for you. You studied networking and stuff.
Yeah, I got that certification. Let me tell you what that certification was. How good can you Google stuff?
Yeah.
This is why I don't respect IT people, because I've actually seen them Google stuff in front of me. Like
that's all the degree is teaching you how to Google stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, do we want to do Where Strode Behemoth? I never ever do Where Strode Behemoth.
I don't know what Where Strode Behemoth is.
I kind of don't like it.
I don't.
We'll do
I don't
it.
really have much in the way of an immediate plan for what I'm going to be doing going forward in Final Fantasy XIV. I'm just basically doing whatever suits, because I feel sort of weirdly like now is a bad time to start anything, because the sort of like the objectives will shortly switch from doing things in the present expansion to preparing for the next expansion.
Yeah.
So it sort of feels like there's not really any much point in starting many of the things that I would have normally be doing at this point in an expansion cycle, which is like, oh well, I'm just sort of working towards getting out my various jobs and so on, but well, I don't know which things are going to shift in prices and currencies going forward, and whatchamacallit, the 8-man raids aren't uncapped in terms of loot yet, and the last 24 man's not out, so yeah, there's a lot to do starting soon, so I might as well just sort of conserve my strength for it. But,
you could. It seems like now is the time you do stuff like crafter grinding, get your tools, or like go get your relic weapons that you're missing, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. It's just pick something and go for it. Fortunately,
yeah,
it's there's too much to do in some cases.
Well, unfortunately, when it comes to current expansion, there's nothing to do.
Yeah, because they listen to the raiders and give us sort of relic weapon.
There's all these Criterion dungeons, but it turned out to be highly exhaustible content because there's no reward. Like, there's a lot to be said for 4-man Savage content, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But there's no reward for doing it. I mean, we've banged that drum more than enough, but what I mean to say is that it's not exactly like there's nothing to do. It's more like they've deployed everything there was to do in such an inexpert and sloppy fashion that you don't really feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Like they've basically the gist that I've seen going around a lot of the people in the community, a lot of the natter in the community, is that they have taken the philosophy of not wanting you to feel forced to play too far, to the point where there's no motivation to play. Yeah. Like the opposite of what World of Warcraft does, where, you know, the second you stop constantly hammering away at your dailies in World of Warcraft, you're behind and can never catch up. Here, you're never behind, and you never have any motivation to try and stay kept up, because it just doesn't matter, one way or another.
Yeah, it's, I think all of it just comes back to the fact the flippin' relic weapons just don't offer a sustainable mid-core grind for people.
Well, I mean,
to do.
that's what it is for us. Certainly, that's true. But
I'm just gonna follow the group.
yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, you have to look which direction they're steering, huh?
Yeah, and I think you got to use the corpses to line of sight immediately later.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that. Something that looks like that. Anyway, yeah, I think that for us that's the case, but I think that basically everybody else is suffering from a similar syndrome. I think that just happens to be the most obvious example of it to which we are obviously subject.
Okay.
So, well, in an expansion, normally this is what we're doing. But, like, I've tried to grind Mandeville weapons, but it's like, well, I don't really like doing that content. Like, I don't mind doing roulettes, but I also don't really like doing them by myself. I prefer to do them with other people. So if there's other people are not available, then I can't do it. But you see, the thing is, the relic content for me traditionally has been mostly solo content. It's what I do when I'm by myself and other people aren't on. But if you make the activity roulettes, then, which is of course the optimal way to do it, is just do your daily roulettes all the time. Then it becomes, the relic weapon is now group content, except it's group content that is being used for a really banal purpose. And so I just don't really feel like doing it. I mean, it'll get there sooner or later, but I just sort of feel like the spectre of Mandeville weapons for poetics is sort of looming in the distance, and it makes me feel a bit cringy about it.
Yep. This game just seems to be killing me, even though I'm in the safe spots now. So I'm not sure what's.
It's because you're fat.
I think it might be because I'm fat.
But yeah.
What level is your summoner now?
I just leveled up, actually. Level 79.
We could go to the Tempest and farm Fates instead if you want.
Yeah, I think we should do that. The server just seems to really hate me today.
I don't mind what we're doing. We can go do that. You can get some sea swallow skin.
Oh, sea swallow skin.
I don't know how much you love sea swallow skin.
The thing that taught me just how awful farming monster drops is friggin' sea swallows.
Yeah. I don't know why. Am I just lagging or what? Oh.
I think for that behemoth, you were too far into the hitbox of the behemoth you were supposed to hide behind.
No, I don't think I was. At least I don't think I was. The server may have.
No, you were clearly where you're supposed to be on my screen, which means the server probably agreed with you.
Yeah.
I think you were just too far up.
Maybe. I don't know.
So I was so I did not realize this, but Helk is actually a 24 episode anime.
I see.
How did they get that greenlit?
Let me see a sec here just to hand in all the stuff.
Oh, right. Oh, well, I'll do that later.
Yeah, key, those, get some lockboxes.
Where'd I get random high-quality twin thread from?
Just to kill something?
Don't know. 1 second.
Disappointment. Look at all those fireworks and piety materia.
Ooh, the fourth film of Girls in Panzer is coming out soon as well, which is like one of my guilty pleasure shows. I absolutely love that show. And I am of the firm opinion that all men think tanks are cool.
I mean, they're not wrong.
More or less in the same vein, all men think warships are cool as well.
Warships are also cool.
And all men think fighter jets are cool.
Yes.
Like, there are certain things that just unite all men,
Yes.
and those are among them.
It doesn't matter who designed them or which country they're for. They're just cool.
Yeah, well, I've more or less exhausted anything I can talk about for my week, so.
Ari, go ahead.
I guess I can segue before we get too off of Animu.
All right.
The only thing of substance I have really to talk about is a little bit of Liza P. and the anime I watched. I watched the up to, I think I'm a few episodes behind. I haven't got the last few episodes of 1,000-Year Blood War for Bleach. You got to watch the Nazi Quincy's in their raid on Soul Society. And I am genuinely impressed with how much effort they're putting into some of the animation for this show. It looks way better than it has any right to.
Nevertheless, they're still getting death threats for it, so...
What specifically they get death threats about? Because I just watched the show. I didn't follow the news.
General animation quality is the main thing that I've seen.
Really?
I'm not sure what they're actually expecting. It's a little bit confusing, to be totally honest.
It looked fine to me. In fact, it looked pretty dang good in some places. Then again, I'm not an anime follower anymore, so I'm seeing. I don't see the evolution of animation as season to season as I guess seasonal anime watchers do.
I don't think that there's anything remarkably good or bad about it. I think that most of the bad things about 1,000-Year Blood War were also bad in the manga.
Yeah, its pacing is all kinds of effed up. It's got weird decisions with some of the characters. I did see that one of the characters from on the Nazi side got the alphabet people contingency in an uproar, which made me laugh.
Okay.
Oh, the zombie girl? The zombie guy? The zombie it? I'm not quite sure, I don't remember.
Yeah, the zombie thing. Yeah, I laughed at that one.
I presumed that it would be like they thought it was racist or something.
Yeah, I don't know what their actual complaints are. I just saw that they were in a tizzy over it, and that got me laughing. But yeah, I'm just here to see now you feel like number one and watch each go come down with a bigger sword and do cool stuff.
I mean, it was pretty graphic about that character in the original, but I gather they actually censored the translation in a lot of official outlets.
Yeah, from what I gather, there was a whole lot more degeneracy amongst the female Sternritter in the manga. It's been a long time since I read 1,000-Year Blood War.
It was they were pretty much degenerates, yeah. But most of that got sort of bleached out. No pun intended.
Pun intended.
Pun totally intended.
Yeah, So yeah, they've cut a lot of that out. They've cut a whole lot of lewd scenes with Orihime and a few others apparently that people are not happy about. But I'm not here to watch Bleach for any of that. I'm here to see cool swords come down and do cool things.
Yeah. All men think swords are cool. Same as with the aforementioned tanks, warships, and airplanes.
Like, I just want to hear now you feel like number one and watch Ichigo come down with a bigger sword to do cool stuff.
Yeah. We just want to watch cool fight scenes, that's it.
I really do like the new remix they got for number one going on here. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about with it. It's more Bleach. Did you like Bleach? Then you'll like more Bleach.
There you go. Here's more Bleach. Enjoy.
It still has a lot of fans, and those fans were always felt very jilted at the fact that they never got to see the end animated. But they're getting their wish now. All the dramatic scenes are getting to happen, and so on and so forth. It's not going to turn Bleach into a phenomenon again or anything like that, but it will round things off nicely. Yep. Provided that they actually get all the way to the end and they don't have to cancel it because of death threats.
Ugh.
Yeah, they probably have another 12 episodes after this one to go, I would imagine.
We just take people's death rights away.
There's a whole bunch of extra fights they haven't played out yet.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a fun watch. I don't know exactly what the fan base is mad about with animation. I'm not a super Bleach fan. I liked Bleach. It was my favorite of the big three, but I was never married to it like some people seem to be.
It's one of those things that doesn't matter what they did, people would still be getting all salty about it.
That seems to be the impression I got from it.
Yeah.
You know, it was never going to be good enough because, like, I think that probably people are just comparing it to how they felt when they saw it for the first time. And, you know, the world has moved on.
You're not 12 years old anymore.
Yeah, you can't have the past back again. I mean, that's what nostalgia's about.
That dude had the RP, so ultra vibrating him worked, but
not all the way.
Oh, hang on, that's right. Bloop. Get off my burb. Underwater burb. Alright. So yeah, I never really got into Bleach, unfortunately, so if I go to watch that, I'm going to have to start from the beginning. And that's a long ride.
Overall, it's not the best well-written shonen anime at all.
I hope you like Mexico.
If real Mexico was that boring, they wouldn't have so much crime.
Like, you're going to be stuck in Mexico for a while.
Oh dear.
There's desert, and then more desert.
There's just a whole arc that takes place in Spirit Mexico, and it is the most boring thing in the world the whole time they're in Mexico, and it goes on and on and on, and they just never get out of Mexico. It became a running joke on 4chan while it was airing. Are we out of Mexico yet?
Well, it's just a repeat of the "Are we still on Namek?"
Yeah.
True. Namek went way too long too.
Somehow Mexico feels even more offensive than Namek.
Because at least Namek is another planet.
Yeah, and there's stuff happening, even if it's like one thing an episode. And yeah, One Piece is honestly feels kind of that way. It's because are we still in Wano yet? Like, the last 400 episodes have been... Oh, not 400. 200 episodes have all been the Wano arc. Actually,
they
it's
lost
close
me
to
in
400
Big Mom's.
episodes now.
They straight up lost me in Big Mom's arc. Like,
the Big Mom arc is... Yeah. Like, the underlying plot's kind of good, but there's so much weird around it.
Yeah, like I felt like the sort of the weirdness that characterizes One Piece sort of hit a critical mass for me at that point, and it was like it had gotten just barely weird enough that I couldn't buy in anymore.
Yeah, like the whole Sanji being forced into an arranged marriage, and he doesn't want to upset his crew, so he kind of sneaks away. That whole bit's cool, but the fact that they do it in freaking Candyland.
Yeah, there's a lot about it that I just didn't quite buy into. Like,
yeah,
Sanji's family also felt like kind of an ass pull. Like, how do I explain? It's sort of one of the shonen power level problems, right? Like, the idea that Sanji is still, after all this time, a little bitch compared to the rest of his family, I don't quite buy into it.
Yeah,
because it's almost like they're devaluing all of the power-ups and all of the experience and all of the struggles he's gone through in the past. Oh, but his family are all just better, and in fact they are so much better that Sanji is like sub-pleb level during the earlier phases of the story. Like,
yeah. I'm just going to
he's just
spoil
a
it a
joke
bit.
compared to them.
Yeah, I'm going to spoil it a bit, but he actually taps into all that later on in Wano, and it kind of comes full circle. But at the time, it's just, yeah. Because like, his family is like super cyborgs and also raging dickheads, but yeah. And for some reason, Sanji is not a super cyborg up until Oda suddenly remembers, oh wait, suddenly he should be. But yeah, there's a bit of ass pulling going on. Wano brings a lot of that back, but then they just... It's too long. Wano arc is just way too long.
Gotta love Blue Mage and the just shredding of boss fights.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, One Piece does have at the latest arc, and for the final arc at least, or final major arc, The whole let's add another level or layer of power to everything kind of thing going on. The Awakens Deviled Fruits mechanic and, Gear 5 basically giving Luffy the power of cartoon bullshit.
Oh, right, he got a Super Saiyan, didn't he?
I heard that he...
Yeah.
I heard that they just made him into the Chosen One, though, which seems like a real total waste of his character.
Yeah, he's kind of the second coming of Joy Boy, as they call him, who is the guy who did the thing. Oh.
The guy who did the thing.
Yeah, it's a long story, but yeah. Apparently, there's a whole lot of stuff that was missing or hasn't been explained properly, and a lot of it is because of, Joy Boy did that. So yeah, it's getting a bit ass pulley, and I'm wondering if Oda's just kind of a bit over it now.
Oh, but I didn't have very much time left on it.
Yeah, that was dead. I mean, he's been at it for what, 20, 30 years now?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. So if he decides suddenly he's had enough and wants to move on, I don't think anyone can really blame him. So anyway, what else have you been up to, Ari?
The other thing worth talking about is getting a jump start on my big Liza P discussion, I think. So, Liza P is a thing that exists. Now, when it comes to Dark Souls and what the community affectionately calls Souls-likes, you got two types, really. You got your hard Souls-likes that really, really take their inspiration to new levels, as in blatantly just rip the whole series off. Mechanically, story beat-wise, the way the world feels, everything.
Looking at you.
And then you got your softer ones, like your Blasphemouses, that take some parts of it and just mash it into another subgenre, or that still feel like their own thing and just feel like they just liked a few of the mechanics or bits from the Souls franchise. Liza P is very much so from the former category.
Oh no.
Every bit of this game feels like Dark Souls. Your Estus Flask, your stamina, your blocking, your your parry mechanics, like your stagger bars. The only caveat is it seems to have taken a bit more from Sekiro, which I do like, than most other ones that try to copy FromSoft.
I think most of them seem to be scared to take from Sekiro because it's too easy to do it wrong.
Yeah. So if you play Liza P, there's a bit of a talk going around, and I tend to agree with it. You're going to, if you try to play it like a Souls game, despite it feeling like a Souls game, you're going to get your butt handed to you. Because its central mechanic for avoiding damage is the parry mechanic, and the perfect parry mechanic. And it's not like Sekiro, where it gives you bonus frames towards the parry mechanic to ease that curve a little bit. You've got to be Royal Guard frame perfect.
I gather as you rotate through, as you progress through the game, and then you get a new game plus, and then plus, and that different tactics open up with regard to how the parry system works, what is parryable, and how it can be parried.
Yeah. So yeah. But regardless of what you do in the game, you're going to be parrying to get the opening windows on the bosses, because the only way to get them in a staggerable state and get rid of their recoverable health, because bosses regen HP just like you do with a recoverable health bar, like when you block.
Oh, okay.
You're going to need to get them in a stagger state, and the only way to get them in a stagger state is to perfect parry them enough times to put them in that state. So you need to get used to perfect parrying and learn how to do it right. And this is quite a big difficulty jump compared to most games that try to play the Souls formula. It's going to take some practice. And this is a big reason I haven't attached to the game yet. I need time to sit down and really learn that. And it's going to mean a whole lot of boss runbacks and a whole lot of boss practice, which I'm fine with. But that requires a consistent chunk of time investment, which I have not had this week. So I don't have opinions on whether it's good or bad yet. But I haven't even got as far as I did in the demo. But it's going to require me to sit down and marry myself to the game for a week or two to just sit down and learn how that parry mechanic works and really get used to its timing. I did already decide that slow weapons are a losing proposition, and switched off of a strength build.
Right.
Is that just a function of the parry-centricness of it?
Yeah, you have to parry too much crap too quickly, and strength builds take too long to get out of their attack animation, so I just was like, I don't want to deal with this, and switched to a balanced build instead.
I mean, maybe something might have opened later in the skill tree or something to enable it, but I mean, I guess you're not going to know.
Yeah. So instead of waiting to deal with that, I switched to a balanced build, and a balanced build gives you enough skill points and strength that I can safely turn the strength build on by just reallocating a few points.
Alright.
But
I think that you can respec pretty early on is good too.
Well, it's not respecking so much as the default class you picked. You pick balance, dexterity, or strength.
Yep.
And you start with heavy stat weights leaning in that direction. So I had picked strength at first, thinking I would do a strength build. And when I saw how integral the parry system was going to be in the live release, and how they did not ease up that parry window at all, I said, nah, not doing that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because it's just, you have too much recovery time on the heavy weapons to go into a parry animation. You get animation locked. So yeah, I'll have more to say about it in later weeks. I'll try to play some of it this week, but yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, wouldn't mind playing it myself if it's good, but
it does feel good, but it also feels like it's going to be really, really hard, like way harder than most games that copy FromSoft. Abo's going to get to play it indirectly because NeoWiz made it.
Right.
And he loves his DJ Max. And guess who makes DJ Max? So yeah, we will probably get some NB Rangers Liza P crossover before long here.
Almost certainly.
I see. I'm not really sure I see the thematic overlap, but okay.
I don't see the thematic overlap between a lot of things until NB Rangers tries to do it.
There isn't one. It doesn't stop them.
There will be one after they do it.
Even if they have to make one.
So yeah, I will give a more in-depth. Is it good? Is it bad? How does it feel? Once I've really sat down to get used to it, because like all these games that really, really try to copy FromSoft's style, movement, and game feel, you got to sit down and play them to see how they really click, and if there's a click point. So it'll take a bit, but as soon as I've got that point at least, and when I beat the game, whichever comes first, I'll come back and give a more detailed breakdown on what I liked about the game and what I didn't. For now, everything is still very nebulous and kind of we'll see. But I do have it. It is installed. I just gotta find the time to sit down and play it in chunks.
Yep.
So that's that for video gaming. Did I do anything else?
Even like a no.
Yeah, I was busy this week. Yeah. I've got family trying to make my life difficult at work.
Oh boy.
They're trying to get me to hire on my sister.
But your sister's like useless. Like, actually does not have a use.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, we want you to take her on and pay her $2,000 a month to be an intern and learn QuickBooks. I'm like, no. You can't make me do that. You have no leverage over me to do that.
No, just don't. When they get to the level, you need to be ready for when they get to the level of telling you that you can't live there anymore if you don't.
Yeah, like if I just up and leave, that they're in trouble and they know that. So they're playing this like they have leverage over me, which they don't. This is in fact the opposite. So yeah, that's the thing. I really don't want to go all the way down there to that defend one.
Yeah, that one's a pain to make it. No, there's another group running around. I think they would have gotten it by the time we get there.
One popped up underneath us, and it's a boost one.
Yay, for boosting. Let's do this, Fate, then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back with Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, I hope you got some notes on it, because I didn't take any.
I got a little bit, but not as much, because I've watched some of it, but not as much as I would have liked. But
yeah, I followed a few news articles, and that was it.
Yeah, the problem with these, the big con, and I know this is stuff for after the break, but the fact that a lot of it wasn't in English does not help. And they did have, as the chat promptly called her, Translator Chan, trying to translate in real time, and half the time it sounded like she didn't even have notes. So she was trying to do it like directly off what they were saying on the stage, and it don't work. Because they're still going up on stage, so she's trying to translate and listen to the next bit at the same time. And yeah, it don't work.
I love channeling that big long laser beam. I can just tune out for 10 seconds.
Oh man.
Oh man. So I did watch a lot of Dragon Ball Z Abridged this week.
There's never anything wrong with watching Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
I watched some of what they call the boo bits.
I haven't watched that yet.
From no, it's bad.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just it's subpar compared to their normal and classic stuff.
They have a whole gag set that's just about pronouns with fusion. Like, it's just cringy.
Oh yeah, that does sound cringy.
Yeah, it's just virtue signaling.
Yeah, it's bad. It's like, be glad DBZA ended when it did. Because Kaiser Neko was getting
awoken.
Yeah, Kaiser Neko was getting gayer and gayer by the minute, and his virtue signaling was getting out of hand already. And by the time they quit, he was ready to go full SJW.
All right. Anyway, this is a good time for a break then.
All right, we'll stop by Beyond Cups and go to a break.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, here's some music, folks. We'll be right back.
Folks, never, ever, ever let somebody curse you with "May your life always be interesting." And never, ever.
Interesting times.
Yeah, don't do that. Bad things will happen to you all the time.
Interesting.
And if you got a family, and if you got a family like mine, well, good luck with that.
So, actually, before we get too carried away, I did emails. Quickly do that now. Okay, there's none. All right. So, some stuff actually happened this week. So Tokyo Game Show happened, and more on the Unity stuff happened. They actually came out and made a proper response, not the hemming and hawing that they were doing all the last week. So, we will go to that in a moment.
Yeah, I hope you got some links for this, because I was so out of it this week that I didn't write anything down.
Tokyo Game Show, I think it's more just going to be what caught your attention, if anything. A lot of the stuff I found in Tokyo Game Show was kind of a damp squib. But there was a couple of interesting things, but by and large, it was like,
Yeah, I saw a lot of not what I wanted to hear about Monster Hunter.
yeah, there was a whole lot of not Monster Hunter they were talking about.
Yeah, I heard a whole lot of, we'll get back to you
Yeah.
at the 10th anniversary or whatever.
So let's start with, I guess, with that. Yeah, Capcom announced a whole bunch of stuff. They talked about Dragon's Dogma 2, they talked about Street Fighter and what they're bringing up next to that, and a bit of Exoprimal. They did not talk about Monster Hunter 6. They talked a little bit about Monster Hunter now. And they said, they kind of announced what Monster to that. I didn't have the volume up loud enough to actually hear what more they used, so I can't tell you what it is.
I am interested in Exoprimal. Definitely, I'm interested in Exoprimal. But in like, it would be like the ideal game to do a crossover to the next gen Monster Hunter on the main consoles.
Yep.
Like because they seem to love crossovers.
They really love crossovers. So, an Exoprimal crossover is going to happen in Hunter. It is. It's already happening with Street Fighter, where you've got robot skins for in Street Fighter for 3 characters, and you can bring those characters back to Exoprimal and use them the motes. There we go. We're not in there anymore. But as far as Monster Hunter 6 goes, they said nothing. They announced the anniversary website.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only hold out hope that they're planning to announce it when the anniversary reaches a climax,
which would be March next year.
But that's not. I mean, to be fair, given the scope of the Monster Hunter games, like Monster Hunter World was huge in scope. Rise, despite the limitations of the platform, was arguably at least as big, if not bigger. It probably just takes a really long time to make these games in next gen. I mean, if you look at the sort of the depth and complexity of the stages in Monster Hunter World compared to previous Monster Hunters and Rise, it was pretty next level stuff. And doing that again at yet another higher tech level is probably an enormous undertaking.
Rise, they kind of cheated by using some maps from older generations and bringing it forward. But yeah, even while Monster Hunter World was in production, Rise would have also been in production with the B team. But yeah, everyone was hoping to hear about at least an announcement for Monster Hunter 6, maybe an unveiled trailer, or just something. Because World was announced at Tokyo Game Show in 2016, 2015? I forget which. But yeah, if they announced it at Tokyo Game Show, then you could have been looking at a release on the 20th anniversary. But it doesn't look like they're going to do that. which is a shame. But we'll have to keep an eye out. They've got the only thing on the anniversary website at the moment is their big mural of hunters wearing the armor of all the front of box headliner monsters, mostly in order. And there's a announcement of some sort of crossover with MSI, which means a Monster Hunter branded graphics card, probably. Which I'm not really sure what the point of is, because it's inside your case.
Well, there are people who like that kind of thing.
I guess. And yeah, you can get adapters so you can turn your graphics card on its side and make it a display piece, but I don't keep my computer case in a place where I can actually do that, so it's like...
Yeah, mine's kind of over there on the ground.
Mine's in a nook next to my desk.
Yeah, mine's in a nook on the ground next to my desk.
And yeah, a lot of people do that with their cases. They just kind of in a nook. A lot of desks have a handy nook.
My case doesn't have a window either. Like, it's just a black box. In fact, I worry about it sometimes because it is such a black box that it doesn't have that much ventilation.
Actually, that reminds me, I need to replace these front case fans then. I used one case for like 15 years and didn't have to replace a single fan on it. This case I've had for about 2. And yeah, it's front fans.
And obsolescence.
Yay. I mean, front case fans are cheap enough, it's just annoying. It takes like 5 minutes to replace them, it's just... Alright, so yeah, unfortunately, no Monster Hunter to speak of. I get that they just put out now and they don't necessarily want to overshadow that, but come on, give us 6, please.
Don't you guys have phones?
At least they're not being offensive as Blizzard were.
I don't know whether it's a case of they were all that sort of like tone deaf that they thought that announcement could work, or whether the marketing department were tone deaf and they just sent that guy out to die.
I think it was the latter. I don't think there was any sort of planning, or they weren't expecting people to poo on it so harshly.
Because I can just imagine how absolutely terrified I would be if I was given the job to go out and make that announcement.
Yeah.
Like that I think that saying something as tone deaf as that would have been because he just didn't know how to deliver that message when he knew it was not what anyone wanted to hear.
Yeah,
and he probably panicked.
Yeah. Like, none of them were PR people out there. They were developers. And, yeah, I think they were just sent out there to die. If the crowd was on their side the entire way, I think they would have been okay. But once the crowd soured, they were done.
I don't know. He did. Do you not have phones? Comment is you digging your own grave.
Oh yeah.
I think that was fueled by panic though.
That was panic. That was
like he was just trying to make a light joke, but it was a really bad joke because he didn't know what he could possibly say to make the situation better.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what he said really at that point. It would have just made the situation worse. At least this way we got a meme out of it.
I think he just chanced upon the worst thing he could say at that moment because he just didn't know what to say.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
But I mean, Blizzard as a whole has gone down the gurgler. Like all of the problems that Diablo Immortal had have been inherited by Diablo 4 at this point, so we know the jig is up.
Yeah. I played a bit of Diablo 4, try it out, and it was just a whole lot of just grind and not fun.
We got 1.2 of Grim Dawn coming out.
Yeah, with the was it Barbarian or Berserker? I forget which way they ended up going.
The new class is the least exciting thing in it. TBH, it's all the quality of life stuff that's coming.
Oh, many good changes. Yeah, you don't need
But
to play Diablo anymore.
if you want to make changes like that, you've got to pay attention to the opinions of your player base. Why would you do something as unsanitary as that?
I know, right? Players don't know what they want. They'll want what we tell them they want. Anyway, we're getting off track. But yeah, that was honestly the big thing out of Tokyo Game Show I was looking for, was Monster Hunter. I don't care much for Dragon's Dogma. I know there's a lot of people out there who did like it. I kind of lukewarm about it. I'm going to keep and see if anything catches on. But so far, no.
It's just unique in the way it does a lot of things.
Yeah.
From what I understand, it's
It could do with a dodge button. What it could do with
dodge.
Yeah, if you don't have a shield, then you're just gonna get hit in the face. It's fine. Or you can just, crawl on the ass of a manticore. Other games that caught my attention, probably the big one that I think a lot of people are really hyped for is 100 Heroes. Iodine Chronicles or something like that. And it does actually have 100 playable characters. A turn-based RPG. It's being made by the Suikoden. That answers any questions.
Well, it doesn't answer the question about whether it'll be any good or not.
No, but I hope so. I'm going to give it a go. It looks like it's got some interesting moments, like 2D characters flying around on giant CGI dragons that look like they fell out of a cheesy anime. The whole thing does smack of cheese. And yeah, it had its visually pretty moments, but, it's a trailer. Grain of salt and all that. And I'm not sure if Iodine or whatever the main Chronicle franchise that 100 Heroes belongs to has ever been out in the West. I'm going to have a look. But Suikoden missed me completely, and I would have liked to play. I am worried that they are, for the most part, they're going to be bringing in 100 plus completely new heroes into a game. Not like Tales or the Trials series where they've built that number of heroes up over time. These are all just like, here's 100 people.
Yeah, they I think we were up to 70 something in Reverie. Yeah. Reverie existed specifically to give one last hurrah to most of them before they get put on a bus.
Yeah.
Because we just got too many.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. Other games, they talked. Sega got up and talked a lot about Like a Dragon. Oh, Yakuza. And
I feel like their audience is already a locked-in market at this point, though.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's only so much advertising you can do. Like, I'm going to probably check it out at some point.
Yeah.
I like Yakuza, but you're not going to evangelize to new Yakuza fans. I feel like your already existing fans are going to do it for you. And the ones that are already existing fans are already going to buy it.
Yeah. The thing is...
Yeah, I think they're the only new purchases will come from Kason fans.
Yeah. The thing is they've got like 3 new games coming out. They've got, or have recently come out, like the Man Who Has No Name, and they've got Like a Dragon, new one, I forget what it's called. One that they announced at Gamescom. And I'm not sure what the timeline for a lot of these is, because apparently Man Who Has No Name is supposed to be kind of a middle ground between Like a Dragon and another one. They weren't particularly clear on it. Yeah. I know it's been an issue with the Yakuza series that like out of order sometimes. Like Yakuza 0 is the first game chronologically, but it's like the 8th game released.
They keep them numbered pretty good for the numbered ones.
Yeah.
At least, so
They're kind of gone off a little bit in the weeds there, but I don't know. They'll bring it back. And they're going to have Kiryu and Ichiban together as playable characters in the same game. Which I'm not sure what they're going to do there, because both of them use entirely different combat systems.
Yeah, we'll see. It's I generally expect Yakuza to do what Yakuza do, which is be Yakuza.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. Is even Like a Dragon, it does something completely different, but it is still definitely Yakuza. Honestly, that's all that really came out that caught my attention. Unless you want to talk about the Pal World trailer. Another one.
Is it the Pokemon with guns one?
That's the one.
The one that's made from like free assets.
That's the one. You know, Craft World wasn't bad enough.
Hey, Craft World has more players than Babylon's Fall ever did on Steam.
That's embarrassing. That's how you know you done goof.
Like, you can... When a game flops, just compare it to the current active players of Craft World or whatever it's called. The bad one.
Yeah, Craft World, which is a blatant asset flip. I think they've got just enough original assets in there to attempt to create a cohesive whole, but they also
Sea swallows.
Sea swallows.
Sea swallows.
Get your swallow hides.
They must all die for the pain they made me endure.
Great ones actually drop the hides.
No, but I still will kill them and make them suffer for what they did to me.
Not salty at all. So yeah, that's... I think, what else was there? Oh yeah, they showed off a bunch more of Persona 3 Remake.
Yeah, I saw people talking about that, but why can't they just make a decent game that's new and not the same game again?
They
like,
kind
why
of
not?
are. That's not Persona 3 though. That's the other one that's on, which is basically Persona with a different hat, admittedly.
That's all that they ever do is the same game.
Yeah,
We're gonna get stale at this point. Like,
yeah. I think
the reason people have forgotten that the reason Persona 3 really took off is that most of the people playing it had never played a game like it before. That it was novelty more than anything else. It's not that it didn't have its own merits, but novelty is what made it a smash hit. But if you're depending on novelty, that only works the first time.
Yeah. Thing is, Persona 3 is very, very heavy and very oppressive. It is not a happy story. But
the thing is that when as you moved along, by the time you get to Persona 5, you're picking up new players, but you're losing the old players in order to do so. Like, there are a lot of people who were old school fans of Persona 3 and 4, maybe even the earlier ones, who thought that 5 was kind of a bit trite.
Yeah, like, as much as I do like 5, it kind of lacks the tone, I guess.
It's got a lot of polish to it. It's very polished.
Yeah.
But it's not really that... It doesn't really have the same sort of gravity that the other two did.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the big storytelling chops that 2 or 3 did, and it doesn't have the same kind of character chops that 4 did. It just kind of is mid all around.
Maybe that's inevitable to some extent, because like the previous 2 were made for our generation, but 5 is essentially going to be like targeted at the late millennials and Zoomers, who are the late millennials and Zoomers.
The thing that I just really noticed in those trailers, though, is they showed a lot, I think, of the design aesthetic from 5 being brought backwards into 3. And that includes giving a lot of the characters big climactic finishing moves, things like that. And the whole game is a lot more colourful than really.
The gloom was sort of a part of Persona 3.
Yeah. It's one of those times where the limitations of the PS2 actually worked a lot in favour. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're at. So I hope they don't change the story at the very. If it's
I can guarantee you.
That story was written a lot of years ago. It's not for quote modern audiences unquote anymore.
I hate that argument. That's fine. Modern audiences have no idea what they want anyway.
Modern audiences Zoomers. I mean, what good are they? We don't need them.
Just what? Don't change it. It's fine.
Yeah. The thing. I don't really want to get too deep on a Sony tangent because
let's not.
There's a lot of stuff I want to complain about with the way the series is going that worries me. Like, I don't trust any new Sony release. It's already gone into the I'll wait till see what other people say camp, which is sad because I used to really, really like the Sony franchise and would just get anything Sony when it came out. But I just can't do that anymore because I just don't trust where they're going with a lot of stuff. I don't trust their storytelling chops. I don't trust the character writing chops anymore. And a bunch of the old hats that were part of the old writing teams are just not part of the company anymore.
Yeah. Like, if Persona had started out as kind of the lighter, goofier side of Shin Megami Tensei, I think that would have been great. But it didn't start there. It was equally, if not more so in some ways, doom and gloom.
Well, it was more grounded in the present day real world than the other ones in the series.
It was less fantastical than the mainline games. It didn't have the post-apocalyptic setting, so you're not in this fantasy post-apocalypse world.
Yeah.
But and you're not in a very, very heavy, with the alignment themes the other games have. It plays less into those.
Yeah, it's still there. It's just not nearly as prominent.
I would say it's not there at all for most of them. Even for
there's no alternate endings to speak of, really.
No.
There's just like the correct ending and the wrong one.
Good and the bad.
Yeah. Even in Innocent Sin, there's just you did it right or you did it wrong.
Yeah. I think 3 was the last one that did that too.
No, there's a bad ending in all of them. But it's very clearly a bad ending. Like, you messed up royally. It, like, had to go out of your way to mess this up levels of bad.
Yeah. And then there's, I suppose, the super duper true ending for finishing out all your social links.
Well, most of them don't even have that. Like, it's just...
Yeah, it's not really
like,
a thing.
Here's an extra little bit with the other characters you did.
Like,
you get to see the conclusion of those social links, and that's about all you get for finishing out all the social links.
Yeah.
It's not actually meant to encourage completionist play. It's not really built that way.
Yeah, there's usually a very specific, you need a guide route if you want to complete all the social links in one playthrough.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that on your first.
So yeah, it's just got a lot of issues with the way it's telling its story and writing, and that it's getting a lot shallower. The characters are not nearly as fun or as bouncy. The characters are not nearly as deep or as thought-provoking in the case of Persona 3. Like, the story itself just doesn't have a whole lot of meat to it or weight to it. It's very generic morals and lessons they're trying to get across as the core of their story. Like, there's a whole lot they're doing wrong with the new Sonas that just doesn't have the same kind of weight as the older Sonas.
Yeah, and I feel like the themes in 5 were just not really very well thought out because they all boil down to the old is bad and the new is good, ultimately.
The thing is, 5 started very strongly with Kamoshida. Like, it wasn't complicated, but it was still a very good bit of writing. But after him...
It was. I think that it was good writing for an episodic anime, but I don't think it was good writing to build a general theme for a story, because basically the only point of it was that, oh well, this guy's a creeper and he's a creeper and we should be suspicious of all adults because they might also be creepers. Yeah, like it wasn't building it toward anything.
Yeah, and that's shown in the later chapters where all the other characters are fairly disconnected and all almost cartoonishly evil at some points.
Oops, I just wasted my laser.
I mean, you could have cut out the greedy bank manager chapter out entirely, and it would miss nothing.
I think the bastard son of like the politician guy thing was a bit much as well. That's like soap opera tier, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sona series has had characters that have connections to Big Bad, but it spends an entire game dropping the Easter eggs for it and all the hints that point you in that direction. Like, you have Mitsuru and her relationship with her dad and their connection to...
But her dad is a character who essentially never appears.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, basically the politician is the proxy Big Bad of the story. And it just so happens that this major instrumental character happens to be his bastard son. Like, what?
It also doesn't help that the localization team couldn't stop themselves from putting a Make American Great Again jab on what's his nuts.
Yeah, that's the problem with the localization teams. They're just too far up their own asses, really.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, if they're remaking Sona 3, I just don't trust modern game devs. Like, I like Sona 3 as it is. It's not the perfect story, but I really, really like it still, and I want it to stay like that in my memory. I don't want my conversations about Sona 3 to be divided into, well, actually, if you play the original, I don't want to have to put that qualifier on any discussion I have about the game. This is why I hate, in general, the feeling these remakes all give me when they're just remaking older games that we all hold dear and have played before, because it just makes it so any conversation I have with people about a piece of media, it's got that big nasty hang over its head that just says, well, actually, I'm talking about the original, not the remake, and if you didn't play the remake, then poo on you. Yeah, you sound like a hipster, even though what you're saying is true. Like, the experiences are different.
Well, there's no point in worrying about it now since it hasn't happened yet. It's just, one of the things that has become a constant dangling threat. But occasionally a game comes out that's reasonable these days. It does still happen. But, you've just got to be discerning with how you spend your time. And, at least we don't... it's not like we have to play every game that comes out. I don't have the time to play every game that comes out. So, I'm not that bothered if some of them are bad because I only need to play the good ones. It's sad when something, becomes mediocre when it was once good. But something eventually will come along to fill that niche because there's a market for it.
Yeah.
Well, until ESG blocks it. Because
there's also that. But BlackRock is apparently backing off of ESG now since it seems that they're losing too much money on it.
Yeah, and not just BlackRock, a lot of the other big investment firms are.
Well, there are only 2 investment firms in the world, so...
Yeah.
And that's BlackRock and Vanguard. They control nearly all the money in the world. Everybody else is peanuts compared to them.
Yeah. So, it's on its way out. It's fashionable...
No, I don't think it's on its way out. It will go through a reform into a slightly different form, which is going to fool people for a while until that one burns out as well.
Yes, into
and they'll keep that up for as long as they can.
Form.
Well, it will be in the short term, but it won't be in the long term because basically the whole problem with ESG is that it ignores the market entirely.
So anyway, was there anything else you guys spotted at the Tokyo Game Show that came out?
I just didn't watch as much of it as I wanted to because this week was just a
gigantic pain in the butt for me.
Yeah.
No, my feed was entirely clogged with Fate Samurai Remnant hype. So
fair enough. There was also talk about the next part of the Final Fantasy VII remake. Well, but I played the original.
yeah,
Although
I don't know.
I've heard rumblings of a deluxe version that they're going to be putting out, so it'll be part 1 and part 2 together for a discounted price.
I wonder how many parts there will actually be by the time it ends, because I'm not convinced that they've finished parting it out.
I don't think they have, because 7 is quite a long game.
Yeah, and they don't seem to ever make quite as much progress as they think they will.
Yeah, but that's...
Because remember, it was originally going to be one game.
Yes.
And then it was going to be 2 games. And then it was going to be 2 games plus DLC. And now it looks more and more like it's going to be 3 games plus DLC.
Yes. And the fact that after the end of Chapter 1, timeline's split now. They've gone off in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
So, we don't know how long this story's going to be now.
I'll just wait. They'll have to cram in the Crisis Core add-on. They'll have to make that part of the story now.
Oh, yeah, put Crisis Core into the actual core story.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That'll actually fix the plot holes of the core story. That's what Crisis Core exists.
No, weren't they releasing that as a separate game?
Probably.
No, they did release the Crisis Core remake.
Yeah, they did.
Wait, they're going to remake it again in context for the new plotline?
Yes.
Yep, that's what they're gonna do.
'Cause, you know, that's money.
Dims to cash monies.
Them is to catch
They've been
points.
facing that criticism for many, many years. That they just keep making more Final Fantasy VII stuff because they know it'll sell.
Problem is, though, they've yet to be proven wrong.
Well, yeah, I don't really know what it is about that one that has got this eternal fascination for people. Maybe it's nostalgia, maybe it's something else. I don't really know. It wasn't my favourite, so I don't really know exactly what it is.
I think it's a good helping of nostalgia.
I think it was just my running theory hasn't changed, and that it was most people's first, and therefore that's the one they want more of. Okay, it wasn't my first. 6/3 was my first.
It was my first, but I fell off the train very quickly.
Yeah. 8 was technically my first, and I never finished it.
8 was the first one I finished.
Yeah. 10 was the first one I finished. But 9 is probably the best. Much as I like 10, 9 is still probably the best.
I think I liked 8 the best overall.
Yeah. 8 lost me. It kind of got a bit janky with some of its mechanics.
Oh, it had a lot of mechanical issues, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, 13's way too long.
There are lots of, like, small, isolated things about 13 that I like.
Yes. But taken as a whole package, I just can't.
Ibu's going through it for the first time.
I tried. And I just couldn't.
I made it through the first 2 games. I didn't make it through the third. I didn't start the third, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the third is so
basically by the time I got to the end of the second one, I had no idea what was happening anymore. I was just lost.
Yeah.
Like the story is like a Kingdom Hearts level confusing.
Something my Falsey, my Lissy, my crystals, my dude faces.
Well, that wasn't the half of it. The problem was when they started traveling through time.
Oh,
Yes.
I was totally lost.
I think the third game is, why is this game happening? Oh, because God told us to.
Yeah, we got to the punch bigger God part of the power of friendship.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything about the third game. I don't even remember if I finished it.
I think a lot of people have that problem.
I think the problem was that it was that particular arc of the franchise, those 3 games, were trading on people liking the characters, but people didn't.
No. The characters were almost universally unlikable.
I don't think they were necessarily unlikable. I think that they were just a little bit too banal for the sort of the outrageous type of character that you need in order to sell an RPG. Like, everybody has to have a pretty loud personality for the most part in these types of games.
Yeah. Admittedly, the only character I actually liked was the comic relief character.
You having fun there, Vaul?
I pressed the wrong button and I don't know how to turn it off.
You can't turn it off. You're stuck.
You just stay in your bubble. It's fine. So yeah,
I was safe in there. It was all right.
Yeah, the only character I liked in 13 was Zaz, and he seemed to behave the most like an actual person.
He has a chicken in his hair.
Yes.
Until he stops behaving like an actual person.
I don't.
Once
think
his plot arc is over.
Oh, then he becomes irrelevant. But yeah, up until then, he's like he's the only kind of actually relatable person. Everyone else is whiny, angsty, or a dickhead. Some combination of.
Or a kid.
Well, Hope is a whiny, angsty dickhead. And I keep harping on this because it is crap writing, gets over being a whiny, angsty dickhead for the period of 1 cutscene. And the moment that cutscene's over, he goes right back. I do not like Hope. He is the worst character.
I guess I didn't like the first one largely because so much of the space in the game is dedicated to Grand Pulse, and it's just not a fun place to explore.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I also say I hate Hope, but I'm using his book skin at the moment. Book skin based on Hope's weapon, however, is cool.
It's not
Speaking
in
of,
any
how
way
close are you to
related
level 80?
him.
What was that?
How close are you to level 80?
One more fate maybe?
About to say, you gotta be close.
Yeah, 1, maybe 2. If it's a bonus one that pops up, or if we get the lady, then yeah.
I find fates always give less experience than I expect them to.
Yeah.
I'm mostly here for the gemstones.
What have you been spending them on?
The unmarket board buyable collectibles from the Endwalker vendors. At the moment, I'm trying to get all of those. And then I'll get the ones that cost millions, like the music scrolls from these guys at the Yondo Cups and stuff.
Is 14 planning to
They'll be-
release like a 6.5 trailer or anything for at TGS, or is that somewhere else? Because I
Oh, holy
heard that it
crap,
was
I'm
going to
lagging.
come out, but
Hasn't
but yeah, because I remember Soken posted a picture that he just finished doing the soundtrack, and it was like due tomorrow. Oh, Steel's disconnected.
Oh no.
He's got the disconnect icon.
Pickle.
Pickle.
Yeah, connection to the server was lost.
Oh.
They've got to bury that line, and I've got to figure out what I got to do to that box. If I've got to run a 40-foot, 50-foot Ethernet cable to the box, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, I'm stuck in character has not logged out.
Yeah.
Log in hell. So you guys can do a few fates without me.
We just got this one down here. We can do it. Alright, so the
Yeah,
other...
you asked me something about what I'm spending bicolor gemstones on, and I think the lag ate me.
You shouldn't have done that. So the other major bit of news is the continuation of the Unity story and their crap fiesta.
Desperate attempts to salvage a terrible cock-up.
Yeah. So, surprising absolutely no one, Unity eventually did come out with a proper response, and it is a full backtrack. In the typical corpo speak way of such things. And they promise that they are going to do better and make changes going forward to their policies.
Instead of that, how about you just go away and stop being bad?
Yes. We've seen this sort of thing before. Like, they'll put out something absolutely absurd. Looking at you, Wizards of the Coast, because you did this. And then they'll get the reaction. People will be all really angry about it. And then they'll rescind it. And then they'll sneak it out again later anyway.
Oh yeah, they've shown the willingness to be, giant corpo monsters. So
they haven't. This is not a I did wrong and I'm sorry. This is a I got caught doing wrong and I wish I hadn't.
Yeah, we got caught with our hand in the cookie jar. But as far as I know, anyway, the class action lawsuit is still going ahead. And a lot of developers have already started the process to move off Unity, be it for their current game projects or future game projects.
Well, it's a liability now because they've shown that they would be willing to do something outrageous. They can't count on it anymore. Unity should have, like in a sane world, Unity has taken its last bow now, and all it took was really crappy internal communication to do it.
Yeah.
Because now they know that this is a thing that could feasibly happen, and they've got to hedge their bets against it now.
Yep. So they're bailing, and there's one small developer who came out. He develops a small app for a mobile phone. It's an educational app, and he ran some numbers, and it turned out that based on the fee structure that they had proposed, he would actually be paying Unity 115% of his earnings from the
It's
app.
like they're working for the Daily Wire or something.
Yeah, so he would actually be paying Unity and not making any money. He would be making negative money by keeping his app up.
you might want to turn your pearls in, Fern.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop. So, yeah, I think that's probably going to be the end of Unity in short order.
Well, the people will. There'll be clingers on that hang on to it. But it probably has shot its market share in the foot because people are just reasonably would be terrified to use it now.
Yeah, like there's going to be current developers who are still whose projects are too far along to change the engine now.
But they aren't going to launch any new ones with it because they've made themselves a liability.
Yeah.
Like, having Unity associated with your project puts you at risk.
Yep. Wow, that did not give very much experience at all, that one. Oh, okay.
That's why I said I always get less experience from Fates than I think I will.
Yeah.
I also don't think that one's popped yet. There it goes.
There it goes. Still got less. Yeah. So that's more or less what everyone expected. There is the full backtrack, but the damage has been done. No one trusts them anymore.
Well, they've shown themselves to be untrustworthy. It's not like they didn't earn this.
Exactly. So, yeah, the end, I guess.
We'll see how this keeps going.
I mean, the thing is that if they want to lure people back, they're going to have to now do the opposite. They're going to have to give extra benefits to offset the bad PR. So now they need to try and make their system more lucrative than it was when they started. So they're well behind now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut your developer kit fees tremendously. You're gonna have to do active work to incentivize people to come to your service now.
Well, considering Unity to start using is free, that's yeah. We'll see, I guess, but I don't see them covering in any hurry. See if I can actually find the. Here we go. Here's the actual announcement: we have heard you. You know, the opening line to
as opposed to thinking first.
As opposed to thinking first, but it's the opening line to every copper boilerplate corpo apology ever. We apologise for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening. Talking to our team members.
So this is I am sorry you feel that way.
Yes. We are listening to our team members, community, customers, and partners. You know, the thing you should have done before you announced this. Because your team members told you this was a bad idea. That is well documented. And we'll be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days, which has yet to come forward. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. So yeah, about as a non-apology as you could possibly get.
Classic.
Yep. Yeah, they in the week leading up to this, there was some communication and a little bit of backpedaling and a lot of cross information, I guess. Particularly in relation to the reinstallations, where what would count as a reinstallation, what would count as a new installation.
The big question mark I have on all this is how would Unity know what's being installed where? And their answer being, just trust me, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that was the answer, is we don't know. It's on the honor system.
Yeah, dude, trust me.
Dude, trust me. Problem is there is no honor system, because they'd probably go to the Google store and look at total number of downloads there and then assume, based on that number, this is how much money you owe us, and send the bill. Except they send that bill to Google, whose responsibility is then to collect it from the developers.
Oh, Fern's going down.
That one. So yeah. The whole thing was an absolute circus, and frankly, I have no idea what else they were expecting. All right, boys, squishy boys. And that's basically it for that. Any other bits of news you guys can think of?
Not particularly.
Can't call any to mind right now. Like I said, all anybody on my feed was talking about was Fate Samurai Remnant.
Yeah.
So, which will be coming out this coming week.
Yeah, I was mostly dealing with work drama this week, so I didn't focus on TGS nearly as much as I wanted to. I was hoping I could come in with a few notes, but I just
it's like TGS. I sort of avoided a lot of the coverage of it because of a lot of it was about Fate Samurai Remnant, and was like, I don't want spoilers. I still managed to get spoiled on some things.
There was the big Project Moon panel. So anyway, the other problem is a lot of the TGS stuff happened at really goofy times for all of us.
Yeah.
It was just getting too late in the day for me. And it was stupid early in the morning in the US.
Yeah, I was probably at work or at the post office when the live feed was actually going on, so I was at least hoping to catch the archives, but I didn't.
Yeah.
That combined with the fact I just in general don't have a whole lot of enthusiasm when it comes to these type of big shows.
Oh, there it goes.
Ding dong.
I got ding dong. S Gauge now has Phoenix. Okay, excellent. I think I got to do a quest before.
Apparently, the Cubus used to be a meme.
Okay.
I guess because it's like because Emmett's created this grand city using his creation magic, the grand replication of Amarot, and for some reason he's just included these Cubuses. Like he's just like, oh, you know what this city needs? It needs blob monsters everywhere.
Everywhere.
And so the meme is basically speculations on why Amarot just had these Cubuses wandering around, and why everybody thought they were necessary.
Emmett kind of ran out of imagination at that point and just made blob monsters everywhere.
This stuff he's a little fuzzy on. It gets turned into a blob.
Alrighty, let's wrap up then, shall we?
All right.
So that's TGS and Unity. No email topic of the week this week unless you got something from TGS that jumped out to you. I don't have anything. Closing comments and I'll get us out of here.
We'll see, but yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
I desperately want this cough to go away.
Yes.
Alright, hopefully this show doesn't get yeeted off of YouTube. We'll see you next week. Sayonara. Bye-bye.